What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Red Wonders channel. This is a video I feel like I have to make based on the recent article from Kieran Harden in the Belfast Telegraph that was released on Sunday before the Linfield game. This is going to be a big discussion video on the game on Sunday, why I didn't upload a vlog, and what problems are going on at the club, the board, the takeover talk, and also the future for Cliftonville if this takeover does or doesn't happen. Now, this is a video I've been wanting to make for ages, but after this article I feel like I've had to make it. And our first point is what's going on with the football at the club. As you may know, I didn't upload a vlog of the Linfield game on Sunday. Now, there's a few reasons for this. One reason is because there was literally nothing to edit. There was the Kieran Offer goal, and we had two other shots on target, but see, to be honest, from memory I can't even remember them. And the other thing is, like, it would have been a very short vlog, and to be honest, it wouldn't even have been worth your watch. And that's coming from a Linfield game, where that's usually one of my games where I get lots of new viewers and big views because it's one of the biggest games this season. This game was awful. It was really bad quality from both teams, and it felt like a pre-season atmosphere. I think most people would agree with that as well. It was a really bad crowd because of season ticket only, which we're going to get on to when we talk about the board later on. But what's going on with the football at the minute? We haven't won a game in 4 games in the league. There's many reasons to this. I think is because we've had a tough start. We've had 3 full-time teams in a week, and Coleraine on the Saturday, Larne on the Tuesday, Linfield on the Sunday. Well, 8 days, sorry, 8 days. But and then Bangor away. But I would have expected to win the Bangor game. But as I say, it's been a really poor start. People are starting to ask questions about Magilton, even though I don't think there should be any questions asked about Magilton. The work he's done with his team, not this team, this club in the last few years, with the budget he's on, which we're definitely going to talk about later on. And also, he's got his 3 cup finals, won his 2 cups, and got his Europe 2 years. The 2 years that he's been here, there should be no questions asked. And the other thing I would like to say to anybody who has questioned Magilton is, see if you do get rid of him, who do you go out and get? Because I think there's maybe 1 or 2 that could work under that budget. McLaughlin, who's proven, but I wouldn't want them back, and Macquarie, who wouldn't leave Dungannon anyway. So it's alright saying it's not good enough. It's been a really poor start. Magilton has to go, but who do you go out and get? And I'm completely against that. I don't think Magilton should be questioned at all. My next point in this discussion video is this article was released by the Belfast Telegraph on Sunday before the Linfield game about Kieran Harden and the takeover from TIG. There's a lot in this to take in. So first point of this article should be that the TIG takeover was approved on the 16th of April in 2025, which is 5 months ago, and it was approved by 88% of the members. Now, I think that's an overwhelming majority for this takeover, which shows to me that it has to happen, and that the fact that the board are trying to say that there's doubt over it happening is very, very worrying, even though the majority of members are for the takeover. If you read on down the article, it does state on the 18th of June, TIG's lawyer reached out to the club's lawyer to ask for an all-party call to discuss any concerns about the takeover. Then on the 19th of June, 1 day later, the club's lawyer responded with the 2 parties were too far apart on the fundamentals, declining TIG's request. The quote that I just read out, it's very tough for me to really say anything on that because obviously I can't accuse anybody of anything, but what that really does say to me is that TIG really want to invest in this club, and it doesn't look like the club are it doesn't look like they're interested at all in even negotiating if they're declining that request. That's not me accusing the club of anything, but that's just my thoughts on that part of the quote. The next part of this article is very, very interesting to me because it's the Toronto Investment Group showing their commitment to the club by demonstrating that they're going to invest 2.5 million over 3 years, 750 grand on the first day, which is an increase to 250 grand on the first day, and they're also willing to spend that 1.75 over the next 3 years. This is massive. That is massive amounts of money. Now, obviously, they are going to have to prove that they have that money in the whenever it all comes down to like legal proceedings and all. But if that money does come in, that's life-changing money for Cliftonville and their budgets and what they can do, doing up the stadium, buying players. But they're showing that money, and then it says obviously in the headline that it's over and done. You're like, why are we not going for that money? Why are we not taking that money? Obviously going to be stuff we don't know about the actual like deal or what they're proposing, but from what I can see, that's a lot of money for Cliftonville, and to be turning that down, it has to be a serious reason. The next point I want to talk about is actually at the start of the article, where it says, Kieran Harden, August 12th, I've communicated to TIG on August 12th that we are putting a hold on negotiations to gain input from each of you as members. Now, I don't really understand this because, yes, I think there has to be another vote anyway because the vote was 5 months ago and there has to be a revote, but 88%, as I stated earlier, voted for this takeover to happen. That's, as I said, an overwhelming majority, and I think that sort of means that it shows that the majority of members are for this takeover. That's why I sort of think a revote's pointless, and they're basically going to get the same result, if not more, because more might be annoyed that the takeover hasn't happened yet. Now, this quote from Kieran Harden's a quote I don't really know what to say about it. I just wanted to bring it up. It says, "Neither I nor the board have been involved in any discussion that will benefit us personally." I don't really know what to think about this. It's a very vague statement in my opinion, and I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, as I keep saying it on and on and on, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. My next point is the board and what is happening with them at the minute. Now, it says at the bottom of this article again, Sunday Life understand only one board member is an advocate of the takeover. That's, again, it's very, very worrying. I keep saying that word worrying because it is, because in my opinion we definitely need this investment, and if only one board member is on board with the investment, that means it's likely not to happen at all. Something every Cliftonville fan has said every year, whenever you look at the likes of Coleraine getting taken over, the Glens getting taken over, even Kerry getting investment from America. Why have Cliftonville never got investment? Why has nobody ever looked at Cliftonville, a fan base, a good solid football inside? And then this comes in and only one board member's on board. There has to be something they're not telling us here, but I thought that was a very interesting point brought up on the article at the bottom of it anyway. It also says at the bottom of the article that many of whom are frustrated with the current board. That's referring to the members, I think, because there was a meeting on Thursday. This is very, very true, as I'm going to show you here. The chants last week. Board, sack the 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 board, sack. I was involved in the chants because I completely agree, because I completely want this takeover to happen. But also with stuff like, I keep saying, I've said it in the last two vlogs, season ticket only at Windsor, it just didn't work. Another reason why people are so frustrated with the board. Another reason is, now this happened in the first home game against Coleraine. Last season we were allowed drinking, did they understand, the whole season, and for some reason that Saturday we weren't allowed it. Now that was a change they made last season, and I don't know why they've changed it this season. Because they were giving out plastic cups in the social, and everybody brought them into the game, and we were told we're not allowed them in the stand. Now that's a major loss for Cliftonville, I think, if that's to continue for the whole season, because that cuts out one of the main sources of income that the club gets. Because I think, now in my opinion, the money that the club make, well, most of it anyway, is from that social and ticket pricing as well. And if you cut out the social, it just means we're not bringing as much in we're not bringing as much in for a big game such as Coleraine. I didn't really witness it at Lauren because I didn't bring a drink in myself. I brought a drink in from the social at half time, but it was more at the start of the game. They wouldn't let you bring drink in. But that's another point I wanted to bring up about the board, and just a minor change, but it was very, very frustrating on the day. Now, sticking to the board, this is another reason why I think this takeover has to happen. I've got a list of 25 players here that we've signed in the last 4 windows. That we've signed, and then I'll tell you the players we've let go, right? So see, in January 24 we brought in Eric Yoru on loan, Shay Gordon on a swap deal for Gallagher, Ben Whaley on a free, Paddy Burns on a free, right? Then we go into the summer, we brought in Ojo on a free, Markey on a free, Pettifer on a free, Leopard on a free, Newbury on a free, Rory Donnelly on a free, Conlon on a free, Glenn we paid a fee for, Taylor Steen we got on loan, Paisold a free, Reid a free, Wilson a free. January 2025 we got Keeney for free, McWoods for free, Parsons for free. Then in the summer, Lavery we got on loan, Morrison we got for free, Reece Campbell we paid a fee, Connor Barr we got on loan, Connor Falls we got for a free, Adebayo we got for free, and the new left back from Mansfield we got on loan, or it's a loan or a free. However, that shows in the last 4 transfer windows, We've signed 25 players and we've bought 2 of them for money. This was mind blowing to me whenever I was doing a bit of research earlier, because how on earth is Midtjylland meant to compete at all when all we're signing is frees and loans, and the majority of them players just aren't up to standards. Now, there has been a few good signings, obviously, such as like your Rid was good last season, Leopard's been good, Wilson's been good, Paisley was good at the end of last season, Keeney's been good, McWoods, Parsons was alright, but what's even happened with Parsons? And then the new boys in, and Shea Gordon's had a turnaround to Cliftonville, he's been very good. However, now I'm going to read you our outs of the last four windows, and the quality we've lost. Gallagher, massive quality, Turner quality, Ronan Hale quality, Ben Wilson quality, Ashford quality, Luke Kenny was good and that's very good in that season, Euro, that's not a bad loss. Paddy Burns was alright. Stevie Mallon, quality. Ben Whaley was alright. Chris Kern, retired, so we can't really do much about that. Taylor Stevens was alright. Doherty, quality. And then if we look at this summer, Kearney, quality. Chris Lowe, his time was up. Rory Donnelly was alright. Pettifer, alright. Odamusu and Paisley. That's a lot of quality to bring in for not much at all. And people... That's what I bring back whenever people are saying Midtjylland has to go in our budget. That's ridiculous that we've signed 2 players out of 25 of money. This is a big point for me, because if this investment does get in, it means we have more funds to buy more players, and instead of just banking on a free, and see the free players that we are signing as well, they're on 1-year contracts. Like look at Paisley, the Rid just about signed a new contract. Conlon signed a 2-year contract as well, but the majority of them are 1-year contracts, which means they are basically a loan. And this was really frustrating to me when I read it, because how on earth are we meant to compete with teams that are paying fees like 100 grand for Alford? The Blues played St Mirren for. How are we meant to compete with that at all when all we're signing is loans and frees? That's my rant done about the signings, but I thought that was a major point that I had to bring up. Now, in conclusion, I want to talk about the future, going into the future, if this investment does or doesn't happen. I think it's going to be a very long season in my opinion, because I don't think we're going to bring in the players that we need to improve. I think I'll go back on my prediction and say we're going to finish bottom 6, because I just don't know. Maybe that was just me being hopeful, saying we would come 4th, or just being stupid to be honest. But in my opinion, I think our away form is going to absolutely kill us this season, because last season our record was not great at all, and I don't think it's going to be any better this season. And we desperately need this investment, or else we're just going to fall behind. And we're already falling behind, let's be honest. We're falling behind from the Glens, Linfield, Coleraine and Larne. Now the Crews, I'd say we're still level with the Crews. The Crews haven't had a great start to the season either, but it's very worrying the future for me whenever I deep think about it. We're very heavily reliant on Europe money. As I said earlier, Midtjylland's got Europe the past 2 seasons. That does not look like it's happening at all this season. And I know we're only 4 games in, but it's basing it off last season. We lost so many games to bottom 6 teams away, and I can just see that happening again this season. But you never know, Midtjylland could turn it around, but I can't really see it. And if this investment doesn't come in the next 5 years, it's going to be tough to see where we are. But this is a video, it's a very tricky video for me to make, to be honest, because people were asking me to make this video a few weeks ago, and I was like, I want to make it, but obviously I can't go accusing anybody of anything. And I know there's hearsay, like what's talked about and rumours and all, but I can't talk about that at all, because it could end up me potentially getting cancelled or sued. But it's a video I had to make, and see when the article came out, it was like that's the reason. That's given me a lot of insight into what the board are thinking and what the members are thinking. But I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this takeover, whether you think it does happen, whether you think it should happen, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are about them signings that I went on a big rant about, because that made me so angry when I read that list out, that only 2 players, and the 2 players were Glynn and Campbell, that we signed with money. But Yeah, sorry for no Linfield vlog, as I explained earlier, it just wasn't a good enough game. There wasn't enough highlights, and for me, it wasn't even worth your watch. And that's bad whenever it's a Linfield game, as I said. But we're back on Saturday, Glenavon. Hopefully, our first win of the season. But if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.